I thought, if you unpack this box deep enough, the AI box, in the bottom is a mirror, and you are it.
Mm.
It's you are the one that's here that's supposed to make this great. And everyone's thinking that it's going to come out of the sky, or I'm going to pop it open and it's going to pop out. But if you work enough with this stuff and really get into it, you see that you are at the bottom, and you are the thing that we've been waiting for, but no one is being told that they're the key to understanding AI.
So, Jake, thanks for joining me. I'm excited for this call.
My man, thank you for having me.
You bet. So I want to set the stage a little bit. So I want this conversation, and perhaps it's a recurring series, to serve as kind of like a flag in the ground, a benchmark in time of where we're at right now. It's what, February 7th? Is that right? 2025?
That's what, yeah.
So,
and I want to talk about,
if you still believe in time, I don't know if I believe in calendars, but where we're at is we have a certain amount of AI enthusiasm, which I know you and I share, but we also have a certain amount of AI anxiety. And what I want to talk about is, like, what is that anxiety? What are the issues, founded or unfounded, that make everybody feel a little bit uneasy? You know, so that's kind of the framework for this conversation is what are we tripping on as far as AI goes? Now, to lead this off, you know, one thing that drives me crazy about Sam Altman is that all he does is make everybody so freaked out about the future, because for very selfish reasons, because then he can create a regulatory moat around his company and secure all the fundraising that he needs so that nobody else can compete with him. So he's in this thing of saying, like, oh my God, the world is going to end unless you just give me the keys to this thing and nobody else, you know?
Right.
So
the social contract, rip it up.
Yeah. So if there's a person to blame for the general feeling of anxiety, it's Sam Altman. I'm going to say it right now.
It's nice to know. It's nice to know that we could put the finger and point, but then we end up pointing at ourselves, you know, and we're wondering, well, what are you going to do, man, in the arena? And, you know, when you have this sort of Caligula-like, you know, exasperation going into the arena, the man in the arena doesn't know what to think anymore. I think, you know, when Teddy Roosevelt wrote that thing, it was still a, you know, heavy conflict happening, you know, in the geopolitical realms. But now it's like narratives can change in hours. And the deep seek thing kind of got us all deep seeking, you know, for sense. We were like, wait, you can work around, or can you? And then it comes out that they actually did have a bunch of computing clusters, and they did. And it wasn't this number, it was this number, but we reacted to the first number we hear. And the most important thing to remember is it isn't if it's true or if it's false, it's if you said it first. Because counteracting a lie, debunking a myth becomes much more harder after the myth has gone out the barn. So, you know, if you're coming up with counter things, you just sound like you're against the tide. So I think one of the things is that we feel a little chained in the way we can speak about our sort of anxieties around this, because it's counter to the main narrative that's pumping the economy up, the industry up, this nation, you know? So it's like, if you have a counter thought, your counter progress, and I can't quite get with that. So it's hard to have any kind of discerning view on AI that doesn't sound like you just hate businesses and you just hate money, and you know, it's like, I've had my thoughts about Google, you know, this whole time in digital marketing, but I was able to work within that thing and say, you know, Google will tell you one thing, Facebook will tell you one thing, but it's up to you to do your due diligence, check your stuff, look at your stuff and self-reflect, and then talk to the finance people, try and really figure out how marketing makes an impact, you know, and there will always be grift here. But now it's hard to separate how you feel because it's like, well, we all got to get in on this. And the number one thing that I'm hearing from a lot of marketing people is they don't know how to start with the AI. They know they have to because here it comes, it's here. You got to do it, whatever the narrative is. But a lot of people don't know how to use it. They don't know. They're not literate at all with this stuff.
Yeah.
And, this is coming from somebody who has a bare minimum appreciation of this stuff. And I've spent hours in those things, like
Yeah.
days, weeks prompting.
Yeah. This is the juice. One, you have the constant stream of information that you talked about, that if you're following those things, one thing negates the other. It's just all nonsense. That'll drive you crazy. That'll make
Right.
you feel anxious. You have a cultural milieu of basically acceleration, where if you're not on board, it's like, oh, well, you're not part of this tribe. We're all in. We're going full steam ahead, and you're already 2 steps behind. So you have that feeling like I'm already behind. Then you also, what you said too, which is like, oh, shoot, I don't really know what kind of application I should be approaching this with. Like, what is this and why is it everywhere? So that creates the foundation, I think, of what's happening like right now very clearly. Now, when I start getting like a little bit anxious feelings around this, it's like looking into the near future and then looking into the distant future,
Mm.
of the potential of AGI. But before we get there, it's like, okay, what does the next 12 months look like? And you have guys like Bill Gates that says, if everything stopped right now, 20% of jobs in America will be gone, or could be gone right now. They just don't know it, So, as an entrepreneur and an employee of my own freaking company, you're like, oh, wait, is this my job? What can these AI agents do right now? Now, like you, like I'm way up in these things. And so one kind of like nice thing for me is like, okay, the tools are going to help enhance the human experience, but all this like kind of like, predictive of taking the job market. If you use these tools, you're like, dude, a lot of this stuff is half baked and breaks and like you have to babysit it. And it's not there yet,
Yes. And that's and if you, and I've worked with, intense workflows, teams, data levels. I mean, like massive unstructured data with the structured data, normalizing, cleaning, data pipelines. Like those things are still the things that you need to understand and figure out and have some governance and appreciation and respect for before you think you can do anything with this AI. And a lot of people forget the data layer. They just, and then they don't know that the data layer is underneath the application layer. And then underneath the data layer itself is you. And you have to have self-awareness enough about your processes, your peoples, those workflows to understand and describe it in plain language to something that is basically dumb, shows up dumb. And, it's like, and you're only going to get one thing done. Like I'm reading this book about AI research, and they use these new things to find out where ant pathways for ants, or slime molds or something like that. It's a very, very specific application that's working at a high computational rate. But the thing that they're working on is hella boundaried, and it has limits in here. And you're saying like it's actually this, and you're actually going to be able to do this small thing right here. And it's being sold as your butler, your priest, your therapist, your friend, your confidant, your accountant, your strategist, your tactician, your technician, your electrician. I mean, it's like it can do everything, and you're like, we've been 10 years deep where radiologists should have been dismissed from their jobs, but because they have grown a sense and the sensibilities of how to interface with the mediums of their work, they can see things that a computer program can't. And it's this disconnection of understanding that there's this human angle that you have to bring to it. I thought If you unpack this box deep enough, the AI box, in the bottom is a mirror, and you are it.
Mm.
It's you are the one that's here that's supposed to make this great. And everyone's thinking that it's going to come out of the sky, or I'm going to pop it open and it's going to pop out. But if you work enough with this stuff and really get into it, you see that you are at the bottom and you are the thing that we've been waiting for, but no one is being told that they're the key to understanding AI. They're being told that they're going to be replaced. 20% of us are, and you're like, well, then where's my moment? How do I fit in here? And I think it ends up being epistemological, ontological. It starts getting into these things that we have no philosophical anchor to hold us down. So we'll just roll with whatever the new thing is. And this trend is going to not just be a momentary thing, it's going to be the thing. Come on, let's go. The rising tide lifts boats, but it also sweeps them off their anchor. So I think you have to kind of start being careful with the way you're describing the energies here and focusing the work on small wins, tiny applications that help you get rid of those things.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. I love that analogy. You're looking down the box and you just see yourself. Hopefully that's exactly what it is. I think that is actually kind of like soothing to like this future that's coming.
That's right.
Because, you also, spoke about like the robots, and we got the robots that are almost here too, so this, the near future stuff is so crazy. But where we're at right now is like, okay, are the robots going to take our jobs? Is AI going to take our jobs? And I think, AI, the term itself is almost jumped the shark, because the fact of the matter is we've had AI for 15, 20 years. We just called it machine learning or automation, but now it's like omega-3 fatty acids. Everything's got it. Now with AI, baby,
yeah, you just have AI, you slap an extra couple zeros on that job description. And in the 60s, it was called expert systems. I read a really cool book called Mind Over Machine by Hubert Dreyfus, and he's one of the people that started to work on codifying expertise inside of a language. And they realized that it was completely messed up, because if you have a rules-based processing, it just follows rules and gets to the output. But as humans develop craft and mastery, we escape rules altogether. And we end up being unable to explain how we did it. So, it ends up, we put all the experts in here, but they're not even aware of all the amazing connections that they're making. So if you thought that they were explicit, they aren't. Everything's implicitly happening in this magical fabric, and thinking that there's something that's going to help us understand the fabric rather than participating in strengthening the fabric and really weaving ourselves into one another. That's the problem.
Yeah, 100%. And there are some jobs that are going to be compromised. I think it's going to take some time, but this is also a lot of opportunity right now for people to build these things. I mean, it's we're coming into tax season. It would be perfect to be able to just upload your W-2s and all of your 1099s and like all your investment reports, and the AI knows the entire tax code and is like, this is the number.
But would it? Are you just putting your sensitive financial information into Sam Altman's cloud? Did you just say that? You started saying, I don't trust Sam as far as I can throw him, and I could probably throw him about 20 yards if I get enough energy. But now you're like, here's my tax returns.
Well, I mean, that is GPT could do that for you. But that's a large language model.
It can absolutely do that, but I'm the security concerns are also a going thing. People are putting their deepest secrets. Kids are telling their deepest secrets and fantasies to a bot that is controlled by something. I'm telling you everything. Here's an interesting thought that I had the other day. What if, because DeepSeek has been breached, so whoever used DeepSeek, y'all got breached. If you think that what is running ChatGPT has not been scraped from the entire internet, then there's interesting real estate information about this bridge. I'll talk to you later about it. But the point is, um, if all of our secrets, here's my question for you. Imagine that we're in a place where I put all my financial stuff, my strategies, my business stuff in here. Now it can be distilled and it's available for anyone. In a place where we don't have secrets, in a place where we can't financially hide, do you think that's a benefit? Because I was thinking maybe a lot of the problems is that these jobs that are going away, and famous of the Sora lady, from OpenAI, was like they shouldn't even have jobs, and you were like, well, not that, but a lot of them may be connected to not realistic stuff that doesn't make a bottom line impact. Those things might go away. Maybe people have been made fortunes on fake things. And now, if everything is available and all the tactics are known, now what? AI is just another tool in my arsenal. Well, what if everyone has the keys to the armory?
Right, exactly. And I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be the democratization of of AI. And you have two realms. You have large language models, Sam Altman and those guys, and you have small language models, which is what Apple's doing. So Apple is giving everybody their own AI that's built in, that doesn't connect to the cloud.
Right.
So this is a really interesting opportunity, because then you don't have to upload your financial statements to Sam Altman. You get to keep it. And now the more you have small language models where you can have all your data, isolated, well, now you have opportunity to capitalize on it. Because honestly, some of my information and my data, I want people to have, because they can help serve me better. But why should Oracle and Meta and all these companies be able to make $100 billion on my data when I don't get a cut? You know what I mean? So like, if I can like keep my stuff locally and then opt in to sell my data, $1 here, $1 there, it adds up. But why not give people that opportunity? So then, again, it decentralizes data.
Wow. Well, and I think that's interesting, because I started to come up with the idea of social media was wage theft from the entire country. We could have been working, but we were taking really good pictures of our panini. But then it was unjust enrichment. Is the fact that these platforms have been unjustly enriched by our data. And now that we're thinking about that, everybody's caring about, then no one cares. The vibe out here is extremely nihilistic around data. And the vibe around data security is like everyone has everything. It doesn't matter. So that sort of kind of cool approach to your data, managing it, being able to understand where it is and corral it. Who's going to do that besides the most skilled and available persons? And then everyone else is just going to get washed again, thrown into the ad supported version of whatever the next thing is, thrown into the data secondary market to just be extracted from. Maybe this whole data democratization isn't a democratization. It's a nullifying factor. It doesn't matter. Your data isn't important because we have the data.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and this is a whole nother bucket of anxious feelings, that
we just opened. It has dill.
Yeah. I know, it's good. We
like
gotta let all these out, because otherwise it just like it builds up. Doesn't this feel cathartic? I like talking about this.
Well, and that's the thing. I appreciate having a place to talk about it, because it is not business friendly talk, but it's something that deeply impacts businesses. And I want everyone to have the freedom to feel this. And I'm lucky to work at a place where we are able to have these transparent conversations, voice these things. I know that a lot of people don't have that. So it is a place to do that. And I'm not knocking anybody.
100%.
You want to go get your bag, go get your bag.
So yeah, Vinny. So we have data, and data is just like a very almost coarse and vulgar way to say the essence of someone's existence. So there's one thing like my financial statements, but we're also talking about like the creative enterprise of everybody who's ever existed. You can go to ChatGPT and be like, write me 1,000 words about XYZ. And then you can say, make it sound like Jack Kerouac, make it sound like Martin Luther King,
Mm-hmm.
make it sound like Chuck Palahniuk, and it will. And it does that,
Mm-hmm.
which means that it's absorbed all the data, you put it in ones and zeros. It's like now something that can be harvested or can be, but really we have intellectual property laws in this country, and we value, I think it's probably our greatest export is actually our creative pursuits. And so like if
Yes.
they took the data, it's like, no, dude, you actually stole all this, all this work to inform your thing. And again, it's like that is kind of been glanced over. So there's like a trade you have. Okay, cool. I trade my data, the essence of who I am, in order to have these slight conveniences. But shouldn't there be some accountability? And I also feel like this gets to the root of what these companies are doing, which is like, no, trust me. If we don't do it, the Chinese people will get it, and then it'll be really bad. Anyway, buy our product. It's $200 a month for the pro.
Right. Which if you follow those numbers, there's not enough people subscribing to that plan to offset, billions of dollars of losses. It's just like trying to run this magic machine. And we had to kind of take all of humanity to make it work, but we are going to help you. And that might lead to this AGI, which is this dangling of superhuman intelligence or something that's more smarter than the ever smartest person. And it fails to.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Sorry. Go.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was gonna take a left turn a little bit.
Oh, please.
Okay. So AGI stuff we might not get to in this conversation.
Good. But because we won't get there for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah. So, but let's get to where we are right now with robotics. And this is a thing that I can't help thinking about, largely because I'm a big fan of science fiction. So right now, what do we know right now is happening? Well, we know that in Ukraine, they have drones that have warheads on them, and they just fly the drones at Russian shoulders or soldiers and blow up their heads.
Yep.
That's happening. So you can imagine easily, you can imagine a swarm of 10,000 of those. That's a Black Mirror episode that could be real. The other thing that we know happened is that there were unidentified flying objects all over the New Jersey skyline, thousands of them. And the government was like, yeah, we don't know who they are and we don't know what they are, but it's not us, but we know we're okay. And that just went away. And they were there for like 2 weeks, drones the size of Volkswagens.
That's, and you saw them with your eyes?
No, I didn't see him, but I know a guy, but it was all over the news,
No, I'm saying like, right. I know. I'm on the other side of that thought is just like, I think if we can get a satanic panic going as fast as we can on any topic, why wouldn't we do it? Why wouldn't we get these people insane about something? And then we are more than happy to say the government's lying. And it ends up being all a little attempt to underestimate and undermine our confidence in what we have, what we're good at. That export stuff that you're saying, I mean, all of this is a ding to Chuck Berry's guitar. All of this is bringing, jazz exports down. I mean, we are the coolest country. And yet, our government's filled with fools. We're going to take it over because the fools let this happen. Hopefully we can get them mad about UFOs enough so that they'll be like, things do need to change. And do you remember when they unleashed the JFK files, the RFK files, the MLK files? Did you know we're going to give it? Oh, we're going to tell you the truth about UFOs. Oh my gosh, we're just going to talk to you.
We're going to release the documents
here and busy while we just do business. Yeah. So we have shunted all of our business-minded, kind of sane, common sense, economic, fiduciary, stewardship responsibilities and got right up into the busyness. We don't do business anymore. We just focus on busyness. As long as there's activity, as long as there's this. And so then people are like, there's too much busy work, isn't there? Well, how about robots? And people are like, hey, don't only hold my beer, pour this beer all over this person who was working this job because they're about to be replaced by an arm.
Yeah.
I don't know what robot do you like? You like the robots? I mean, we remember when Elon Musk faked the funk with those robots. They were people that had an. We're not focusing on that. We're saying self-driving cars are here. Oh God, are they? Are they? Has the tech got good? Has the infrastructure caught up with it? Do we now
Yeah.
need to automate the world to make your automated bullshit happen? Is that the answer? Oh, and who
Yeah.
owns that secondary data market? I'm out.
Yeah, it's the future and you own nothing. Everything is a subscription. Your car, everything, your robot. I know two
Oh,
companies that are getting ready to release like a humanoid robot, probably retailing about 50,000, and they're going to become ubiquitous. They're going to be everywhere. The I saw a couple of these at CES, or not CES, I'm sorry, South by this year,
hmm.
and they're unnerving, dude. I don't like
Yeah,
looking at them. I
super
don't.
uncanny. Has
I
to be.
I want to I want to like the robots, but when they look humanoid, it makes me want to knock it over. You know what I mean? So
And again, it feels like that might be a thing that they want us to untether. They want us to pull up the anchor. They want us to feel like the rising tide is here and your boat deserves a lift. What they want us to do is unanchor. And they want us to just get like super unnerved and like, oh my God, they're coming for the jobs. They're coming for the kids. They're coming for
okay,
you know what I
dude,
mean?
this
So you're,
this is a big bucket of anxiety too. Is the they that there's a cabal
I
of
did just say
technology.
they,
Yeah, no, but seriously, like but you feel that way, right? It's like, okay, oh
them.
my God, Elon's in the government now, or he's got the treasury. And so you have tech and you have the government, and they're coming to take our jobs and make robots. That's another one because now you feel like an outsider. Like, oh man, I'm not on this fast track to wherever John Galt is taking these people. You know what I mean?
Can I say that now we have changed places with the people that we called conspiracy theorists and those insane fools that were thinking about UFOs and we're like, oh my God, and they were so passionate, and then all of a sudden we've switched places with them, and now we're like, oh no, that deep state y'all were worried about, I think it's kind of like happening. And you were worried about that past president who was in control of the global network, who was in control and hacking and bribing. And now that it's actually happening, you sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist now that you're saying, oh, here comes Elon Musk. Oh, he's in charge. He's going to take my data. You sound like a loser, But
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I think I'm following along, but maybe I should just stop. And then they
yeah,
want you to do that too. They want you to stop. They want you to pull over and just park and cry in your car rather than drive on these beautiful highways that this country built with our own hands. And so they're like, I would love for them to just pull over in a drive through and cry for months. What can we tell them? What do we got? Tell them UFOs are real. Tell them MLK was, an op. Tell them the CIA is actually funding poisonous things. Tell them that, oh man, just go, 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 go.
give him some
And
nuggets.
give him some nuggets. And we're just like happy to dip him in ranch and throw him back in the hidden valley of our souls. I mean, it's like, oh, if you want to get scared, but I think that one of the great switcheroo is happening where all these people, all these QAnon deep thing, they're all a cabal of deep, government dangerous. Now that there is kind of a cabal in the government, you're like, oh, you're calling that out now? Oh, isn't that weird? We've been saying it, but actually it's our guys, so never mind.
Yeah, but and even now they're like, wait a minute, I didn't vote for Elon Musk. It never ends. So, dude,
Oh my God.
this has been a fantastic conversation. Maybe we do this on a monthly basis. Do you have that bandwidth for that?
Absolutely. I love
It'd be
talking about this stuff.
it'd be a monthly diary entry of where we're at and what are the scary things about it. Now, to close on a positive note, um, I'm going to make a couple of steps so I don't get freaked out because listening to you kind of talk about the feed of and like the endless feed of like doom scrolling, that's one area that I can really completely tune out of. You know
So
what I
bad.
mean?
I'm bad
Like,
with it too. I mean, I'm on
yeah,
Twitter and I'm just like, I can't even believe it.
yeah.
Well, why
I
are
know.
you looking at it?
Right. I know. I don't need to look at it and I don't need to get people's takes, particularly if they're like pessimistic and like, misaligned.
Right.
I generally, I know that like when I feel good, like if I just ate a mango, the future's so bright, you
So
know,
good.
if
Yeah.
if I drank, an extra cup of Kool-Aid, I'm going to feel terrible. The future's going to look bad. So like
Mm.
the diet of media is important to stay optimistic because ultimately there are so many opportunities. There are so many cool things. I mean, just the fact that I can go to my phone and look in my pictures and type in the search bar driver's license. It uses AI to go find a picture of my driver's license. I just forward it to somebody else. That's great. You
All
know?
that AI stuff, and that's what I'm seeing with AI is like the hype is ruining the hope. You
Yeah.
people are messing this up because this is really cool. Like the level of access that I can get to research, the level of access that I can find in between completely separate things and just feed it into a tight GPT, custom GPT, or notebook or deep research or some of these things. Like you can find common themes that would take you years to find on your own.
Yeah.
And these things are great at taking data. And like you said, that if you look at the human layer of where that data is created from, that might be the unlock to say these data points aren't just numbers, they're people. And if we seek to understand them better, we're going to serve them better. And so you can completely serve humanity being data driven, but you have to understand what's the engine, what's the thing fueling you, and is it a deep hope that you can do this stuff for everybody? It has to be because it's going to end up being that anyway. Like we're going to commoditize this thing and we're going to make it great. But it's up to us to make sure we're present in the room. Like you want to be in the room where it happened,
Yeah.
and I think we have that moment right now. But as it stands, AI is doing really small, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Focus on those tiny wins. Look at your processes and say, man, there's a lot of stupid work that I do. I could make that easier. There's a lot of stupid things I do. I could remove those. So removing away is how we're going to reveal the statue that's hidden in the marble of AI. But you got to cut away. You got to cut away. It's not additive. So,
Yeah, man. I love that. I love that. And the pace it's moving, there's so much speed, it's scary, you
mhm.
know? And I mean, this podcast is AI for Founders, and it's accompanied by my newsletter. It's got probably 9,000 subscribers now. Everybody
I'm
go
one of them,
subscribe.
and I love it.
So it's like news from all this cutting edge stuff, that I'm inundated in it and I'm very curious about it. But the other side of that speed is it's a little scary. So like having this
Mhm.
conversation with Jake Sanders is like a soothe. It's the hidden valley of my ranch soul. To use your analogy.
Dip into it, man. We're all Heinz ambassadors, I think. Essentially, this is the condiments.
It's great.
This isn't a main meal. We just give you some condiments. So you
Yeah.
can serve it to taste.
Yeah, totally. So, hopefully, folks that listen to this episode got some enjoyment out of it. The thumbnail is going to be super doomsday and scary. The clickbaity title is going to be like, "Are we all going to die?" or something. So, if you made it here through that, know that we're all going through it, and we're all going to figure this out
Yeah.
together, and that ultimately it's going to be just okay.
Tiny wins. Tiny wins will get you the championship. So let's just
Amen.
work together as a team. Okay.
Let's do it. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, man.